Hello guys, as per popular demand, I will be doing a tutorial on how to do my mapping videos. I'll be doing a simple mapping animation of a fictional New Zealand Civil War for this video. Now just to note, I will be catering to the lowest common denominator and assume you have no experience with mapping, but at least know how to use some basic painting tools. If you do have mapping knowledge, I still hope this video will give you insight onto my style. Anyways, without further ado, let's start. Firstly, the softwares I'll be using to make this animation are Sketchbook and Rough Animator. Sketchbook is free, but Rough Animator is not. You are free to use your own softwares as substitutes. On to the first steps. Firstly, you want to go to a website called mapsforfree.com. This site allows you to download a Mercator projection map from anywhere on Earth. It is also free and no attribution is required. Now the site itself, you have options of what you want to download. There is a terrain map, a political map, and also an option to show roads and bodies of water. Now go to the area that you want to map and press the download button. Then without moving the camera or zooming out, change what you are showing to the political map and download that. Then optionally download the roads and rivers as another map if you want them. Now with the maps, let's move on to the drawing phase. Now there probably are more efficient ways of doing this, but the way I like to make the outline is to get the terrain map, put it on a slightly lower opacity, then trace the outline on another layer using the pen tool. Make sure to use a small brush to give the appearance of detail. I use a size 0.8, and set your size change with pressure off. Now I'll finish the outline, and if you have borders on your map, trace over them by using the political map. Now that we've finished the outline, it's time to move on to the features. Firstly, get out a map with your desired features, and on a new layer, trace over the roads with a shade of grey. Use a small brush size as well. I decided to temporarily make the background grey to improve contrast. Now the next feature, if you want them, is rivers and lakes. Go back to your features map, and like the roads, add a new layer and trace over the rivers. Let me now skip ahead to a potential problem I have had with these maps. Now as you can see here, the river is disconnected to the sea for whatever reason. Now if you care about accuracy, you can take a different map and overlay it with this map and trace over that. But I decided to be lazy and just improvise a route. Now time for the final feature. On a new layer, use the airbrush tool to trace over the borders. This makes the map a million times better looking. I highly recommend you do this part. Similar to the pen, I recommend that you turn your pressure off, as well as a setting called flow. This keeps your airbrush at a consistent opacity so it isn't too light in some areas. I am using a 32 size airbrush with 3% flow. The final step is to color in the map. I recommend using darker colors over lighter ones as it makes it much nicer looking. First duplicate the outline layer, then use the bucket tool to fill in the map. Finally, make sure that your color layer is at 90% opacity, then get a dark blue and fill in the remaining ocean. This is what the final map will look like, but we need to do some more things before we can move on to animating the map. We need to export the map in separate parts so that we can piece them together in the animation software. Firstly, get the color layer on its own alongside the outline layer. Make sure not to do what I did here and export it at 90% opacity. Keep it at 100% opacity. Now go back to your map and take all the features including the outline and export it. If you want to know how to make the background transparent, go to the background section and make sure that the eye icon is crossed out. Now time for the final part. Go to your animation software and create a new project. Make sure that the size of your canvas is exactly equal to the size of your image, and make sure that the frame rate is 6 FPS. Now it's time to put together the map. Firstly, add the terrain map in the background. As you can see, the image perfectly aligns with the size of the canvas. Now I'll add the rest of the layers. Features will be the topmost layer, and the middle layer will be your wall slides. Make sure to put the wall slides at 90% opacity. The reason you make it 90% opacity in the animation app and not the image itself is so that you can see the terrain underneath your new drawings. Here's an example of what would have happened if you made the colors 90% opacity in the image. Going back to the animation, make sure that you extend the features frame, and make sure you are using a normal brush for Rough Animator or a pixel brush for others like Flickerclip. Now the most important part is to have anti-aliasing off, otherwise it looks blurry. I also recommend using a 1 pixel sized brush and filling in the captured area with the bucket tool. Now add your colors. I recommend using a light color for the first frame, then fill in the last frame's colors with a mid-tone color, then finally to a dark color when the region is annexed and the fighting is over. Now paint in the area that you want to color, then duplicate the frame you have drawn as shown. Fill in the old frame with the mid-tone color, then add your new part to the next frame with the light color. Now simply repeat this. Make sure to roughly follow features like rivers, roads, cities, and the coast. Let me now skip ahead to the next tip, which has to do with my style. If you want to show a sort of blitzkrieg, or a fast maneuver, make an unbroken line across the front, so that every pixel is moved forwards like shown. Don't make it consistently spaced. Make it extended along features where the offensive is most concentrated. I don't think this is realistic, but it looks nice. Alright, after a couple hours spread over multiple days, I've finished the animation. Now it's time to show it completed. Here it is. All that work was for an 8-second animation. Animation takes a long time, as you can see. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm very new to mapping, I only started 2 months ago. Even so, I think my style is good. Also, this is the first video which I have used my voice in. Hopefully it's good. And with that out of the way, thanks for watching.